Obviously, no discussion of the greatest sci-fi TV series of all time would be complete without considering Star Trek. But if we're going to be hunting for the greatest series, then before we can even consider Star Trek's place in the pantheon, we have to decide which is the best Star Trek series. I mean, there are so many of them. There's the original series, the animated series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Orville, Star Trek Discovery, Picard, Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds. Like, I'm one of the biggest Trekkies on the planet, and I'm legitimately afraid that I forgot one. So let's thin the herd. Voyager and Enterprise lacked the courage of their convictions. Neither really delivered on their premise. So Voyager should have been more like Battlestar Galactica, where scarcity was a driving factor in the story. Instead, they had infinite photon torpedoes, and the ship actually got stronger the longer they were stranded out there. Similarly, Enterprise should have taken its time, told some long-form stories about exploration, really getting to know alien cultures without all the super advanced advantages the later Enterprises would have. Instead, they just zipped around the cosmos being TNG light. Pfft, hull plating. Give me a break. Maybe Discovery is the... no, I'm just kidding. We all know that's not it. Picard either. Strange New Worlds is pretty legit, but it's leaning really heavily into its silly side. And while it's entertaining as hell, and it is keeping the ethos of Star Trek alight, it just doesn't have the gravitas to take the top spot. Speaking of Star Trek's silly side, I wanted noted that Lower Decks is actually great Trek and is really faithful to the core values of the franchise. But obviously, nothing this derivative can really be the greatest on its own. So that leaves us with the core three: TOS, TNG, and DS9. Hard truth time. The original series has very few good episodes, and more than a few terrible episodes. I mean, like the time they fought alongside Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln. I mean, how many times are we going to go to the well on this godlike super alien tests humanity and discovers its own limitations trope? So, no. And the Next Generation, yeah, it had some great moments, but it also had this. DS9 brought the grit as it, tested the limits of Trek's optimism. But it also did so with a lot of soap opera-y stuff, like the love triangle between Worf and Dax and Bashir. Wait, I guess that's more of a quadrilateral because one of them was two people. I don't know. My point is, making Oda and Kira the Ross and Rachel of the galaxy was not a good move. Also, poor O'Brien. Give the man a break. Bottom line, picking just one Star Trek series is like picking just one Enterprise as the best. Oh no, wait. That's totally possible. It's this one. But my point is, if we're talking most iconic, most influential series, then obviously it's Trek by a landslide. But for the greatest of all time, Trek just fails the consistency test.